Tramway engines. For a dear friends, Thomas and has been pestering me to write about his branch line. After all, he said, we are the important part of the whole railway. What can I write about? I asked. Oh, lots of things. Percy, Woolly Bear, Toby Tightrope. You ghost, I added. Don't put that silly story in, said Thomas crossly. Oh, well, all the same, Thomas has been much too cocky lately. It will serve him right. Oh. Ghost train. And every year on the day of the accident, it runs again, plummeting into the gap, shrieking like a lost soul. Percy, what are you talking about? The ghost train. Travis saw it last night. Where? Asked Thomas and Toby together. He didn't say it, but it must have been on our line. He says ghost trains run as a warning to others. Oh, he went on. It makes my wheels wobble to think of it. Pooh, said Thomas. It's just a silly little engine, Percy. I'm not scared. Thomas didn't believe in your ghost, said Percy next morning. He's driving laugh. Neither do I. It was a pretend ghost on television. Percy was disappointed, but he was too busy all day with his stone trucks to think about ghosts. That evening he came back light engine from the harbour. He liked running at night. He coasted along without effect, the rails humming cheerily from under his wheels and signal lights changing to green at his approach. He always knew just where he was, even in the dark. Crow's Farm Crossing, he chanted happily. We shan't be long now. Sam had forgotten that Mr. Crow wanted a load of lime taken to the 40-acre field when he remembered. It was nearly dark. He drove in a hurry, bumped over the crossing, and sank his cart front wheels in mud at the field gate. The horse tried hard but couldn't move it. The cart tail still folded the railway. Sam gave it up. He harnessed the horse and rode back to the farm for help. There's still time, he told himself. The next train isn't due for an hour. But he reckoned without Percy. Percy broke the cart to smithereens and lime flew everywhere. They found no one at the crossing, so went to the nearest signal box. Halloo, said the signalman. What have you done to Percy? He's white all over. Percy's driver explained. I'll see to it, said the signalman. But you better clean Percy or people will think he's a ghost. Percy chuckled, said, let's pretend I'm a ghost and scare Thomas. That'll teach him to say I'm a silly little engine. On their way, they met Toby, who promised to help. Thomas was being oiled up for his evening train when Toby hurried in, saying, Percy had an accident. Poor engine, said Thomas. Botheration, that means I'll be late. They cleared the line for you, Toby went on, but there's something worse. Out with it, Toby, Thomas interrupted. I can't wait all evening. I just seen something, said Toby in a shaky voice. It looked like Percy's ghost. It said it was coming here to warn us. Pooh, who cares? Don't be frightened, Toby. I'll take care of you. Oh? Percy approached the shed quietly and glided through. Peep, 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 peep. Shrinked. As he'd been arranged, Toby's driver and fireman quickly shut the door. Let me in, said Percy in a spooky voice. No, answered Toby. Not by the smoke of my chinny chim. I'll chuff and I'll puff and I'll break your door in. Oh dear, exclaimed Thomas. It's getting late. I have no idea. I must find Annie and Clarabelle. He hurried out the other way. Percy was none the worse for his adventure. He was soon cleaned, but Thomas never returned. Next morning, Toby asked him where he'd been. Ah, well, said Thomas, I knew you'd be sad about Percy, and, I didn't like to, intrude. I slept in the goods shed, and, he went on hurriedly. Sorry, can't stop. Got to go see a coach about a train. And he shot off like a jackrabbit. Percy rode up alongside. Wow, 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 he exclaimed. What did you know about that? Anyone would think, chuckled Toby, that our Thomas had just seen a ghost. Woolly Bear gangers had been cutting the line side grass and cooking it. The fat controller sells the hay to hill farmers who went winter feed for their stock. At this time of the year, when Percy comes back from the harbour, he stops where they have been cutting. The men loaded up his empty wagon and pulls them to Farquhar. Toby then takes them to the hill. The farmers collect the hay from Toby's top station. When the wagon, the hay is covered to prevent this blowing about, but on the line side it's stacked in the open air to dry. Shh! Percy gave his goldy whistle. Don't be frightened, Thomas, he laughed. It's only me. Your ugly face is enough to frighten anyone, said Thomas crossly. You're like ugly indeed. I'm a green caterpillar with red stripes, continued Thomas firmly. You crawl like one too. I don't. Who's been late every afternoon this week? It's the hay. I can't help that, said Thomas. Time, and the fat controller relies on me to keep it. I can't if you crawl in the hay till all hours. Green caterpillar indeed, from Percy. Everyone says I'm handsome, or at least nearly everyone. Anyway, my curves are better than Thomas Corner's. He took his trunks to the harbour and spent the morning chaunting. Thomas says I'm always late, he grumbled. I'm never late, or at least only a few minutes. What's that to Thomas? He can always catch up time further on. All the same, he and these drivers decided to start home early. It was most unfortunate that just before they did, a crate of treacle was upset over him. They wiped the worst off, but he was still sticky when he puffed away. The wind rose as they puffed along. Soon it was blowing a gale. Look at that, exclaimed his driver. The wind caught in the pile hay, tossing it up and over the track. The gangers tried to clear it, but more always came. The line climbed here. Take a run at it, Percy, his driver advised, so whistling warningly. Percy gathered speed, but the hay made the rail slippery and his wheel wouldn't grip. Time after time he stood with spinning wheels and had to wait till the line head was cleared before he could start again. The signalman climbed a telegraph pole. The station master paced off the platform. Passengers fussed and Thomas seethed impatiently. 10 minutes late, I warned him. Passengers echo complained, and the fat controller. The signalman shouted. The station master stood amazed. The passengers exclaimed and laughed as Percy approached. Sorry I'm late, Percy panted. So I should hope, scolded Thomas, but he spoiled the effect as Percy drew alongside. Look what's caught out the hay, he chortled. What's wrong? Asked Percy. Talked about hairy caterpillars, puffed Thomas as he started away. It was worth being late to have seen you. When Percy got home, his driver showed him what he looked like in a mirror. Bust my buffers, exclaimed Percy. No wonder they all laughed. I'm just like a woolly bear. Please clean me before Toby comes. But it was no good. Thomas told Toby all about it. Instead of talking about sensible things like playing ghost, Thomas and Toby made jokes about woolly bear, caterpillars and other creatures which crawl about in hay. They laughed a lot, but Percy thought they were really being very silly indeed. Marvis is a diesel engine belonging to the Quarry Company. They bought her to shunt trucks in their sidings. She is black and has 6 wheels. These are like turbines are hidden by side plates. Marvis is young and full of her own ideas. She's sure they're better than anybody else's. She loves rearranging things, then put Toby's trucks in different places every day. This made Toby cross. Trunks, he grumbled, should be where you want them when you want them. Fudge, said Marvis, and flounced away. At last, Toby lost patience. I can't waste time playing hunt the trucks with you, he snapped. Take them yourself. Marvis was delighted. Taking trucks made her feel important. At Farquhar, she met Daisy. Toby's an old fusspot, she complained. Daisy liked Toby, but was glad of a diesel to talk to. Steam engines, she said, have their uses, but they don't understand. Toby says only steam engines can manage trucks properly. What rubbish, put in Daisy, who knew nothing about trucks. Depends upon it, Mike dear. Anything steam engines do, we diesel engines can do better. Toby's lane crosses the main road behind Farquhar Station, and for a short way follows a farm lane. The rails here are buried in earth, and ashes almost to their tops in wet weather. Animals, carts, and tractors make the lane muddy and slippery. Frost makes the mud rock hard. I swear was it too, preventing endings wheels from gripping the rails properly. Toby found this way troublesome, so when Frost came he warned Marvis and told her just what to do. I can manage, thank you, she said cheekily. I'm not that old fusspot like you. The trucks were tired of being pushed around by Marvis. It's slippery, they whispered. Let's push her around instead. On, they yelled as Marvis reached the stopboard, but Marvis had heard about Percy and took no chances. He brought them carefully down to the lane and stepped at the level crossing there. Her second man halted the traffic while the guard unpinned the wagon brakes, one in the headlamp for Freshpot Toby. She chortled. She looked forward to having a good giggle about it with Daisy, but she never got her giggle. She was so sure she was right that she stopped in the wrong place. In frosty weather, Toby stops before reaching the lane, and while some of these trucks are still on the slope, this ensures that they can't hold him back, and their weight helps him forward till his wheels can grip. But Marvis had given the trucks the chance, and they wanted, hold back, they giggled. Go up, ordered Marvis. The trucks just laughed, and her wheels span helplessly. She tried backing, but the same thing happened. They standed the rails and tried to dig away their frozen mud, but only broke the spade. Cars and lorries tooted impatiently. Grrr, wailed Marvis in helpless fury. I warned her, fumed Toby. I told her just where to stop. I can manage, she said, and called me an old fusspot. She's young yet, soothed his driver, and she can manage her trucks herself. They're your trucks, really, his driver pointed out. Marvis isn't supposed to come down there. If the Fat Controller, you wouldn't tell her, would you? Of course not. Well then. But his driver went on. If we don't now clear the line, he'll soon know all about it. And so shall we. Yes, said Toby thoughtfully. An angry farmer was telling Marvis just what she could do with her train. Toby buffered up. Having trouble, Marvis? I'm surprised. Grrr, said Marvis with much puffing. A wheel slipped. Toby pushed the trucks back. Marvis hardly helped at all. The hard work made Toby fire burn fiercely. He then reversed, stopping an interval while his fireman spread hot cinders to melt the frozen mud. Goodbye, he called as he reached the crossing. You manage now, I expect. Marvis didn't answer. She took the trucks to the shed and strutted home as quickly as she could. Toby's tightrope. The manager spoke to Marvis severely. You are the very naughty engine. You have no business to go juntering down Toby's line instead of doing your work up here. Is that Toby? Protested Marvis. He's a fusspot. He, Toby, has forgotten more about trucks than you will ever know. You will put the trucks where he wants them and nowhere else. But there are no buts, said the manager. sternly. You do as you're told, or else. Marvis stayed good for several days. Marvis soon got tired of being good. Why shouldn't I go on Toby's line? She grumbled. She started making plans. At the top station, the siding arrangements were awkward. To put trucks where Toby wanted them, Marvis had to go backwards and forwards, taking it a few at a time. If she suggested to her driver, we used the teeniest bit of Toby's line, we could save all this bother. Her driver unsuspicious spoke to the manager, who allowed them to go as far as the first level crossing. Martha struggled, but she kept it to herself. Frost tended to work in the quarry, but they made them busy again. More trucks than ever were needed. Some trains were so long that Martha had to go beyond the level crossing. This gave her ideas a chance to go further down the line without it seeming her fault. Can you keep a secret? She asked the trucks. Yes, they chanted. Will you bump me at the level crossing and tell no one I asked you? The trucks were delighted and promised. It was unfortunate that Toby should have arrived while Morris was elsewhere and decided to just shunt them himself. They reached the level crossing and Toby brakes came on. This was the signal for the trucks. On, they yelled, giving him a fearful bump. He's driving firm and taken unawares were knocked over in the cab, and before they could pick themselves up, Toby was away with the truck screaming and yelling behind him. What none of them realised was that with the warmer weather, melted snow from the mountain had turned a quite steamy into a raging torrent, and the spotting of the bridge they were approaching had already been underminced. Toby and his crew saw it together. The bridge vanished before their eyes, leaving rails like tight ropes stretched across the gap. Beep, 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 whistled Toby. His drive, still dazed, fought for control. Shut regulator, reversed hard over, full steam against the rail trucks. Hold them, boy, hold them. It's up to you. Nearer and nearer they came. Toby whistled despairingly. Though their speed was reduced by braking by still risky, but it was all or nothing now. The driver braked hard. Toby went into a squealing slide, groaned feebly and stopped still at the rails, but with his wheels treading the tightrope over the biz. Marvis was horrified. She brought some men who anchored Toby with ropes while she pulled the trucks away. Then she ran to the rescue. Hold on, Toby, she tooted. I'm coming. Ropes were fastened between the two engines. Toby still had steam and was able to help, so was soon safe on firm tracks, saying thank you to Marvis. I'm sorry about the trucks, said Marvis. I can't think how you managed to stop them in time. Oh well, said Toby. My drivers told me about circus people who walk tightropes, but I just didn't fancy doing it myself. Oh. For that control, I thanked the manager and his men to rescuing Toby from his tire roll. A very smart piece of work, he said. Marvis did well too, I hear. Marvis looked ashamed. It was my fault about those trucks, sir, she faltered. I didn't know, but if I could. Good what? Smiled the Fat Controller. Come down the line sometimes. Toby says he'll show me how to go on. Certainly, if your manager agrees. If so, it was arranged. Marvis is now a welcome visitor at Farquhar's shed. She's still young, still makes mistakes, but she's never too proud to ask Toby, and Toby always helps her to put things right. Yeah.